Welcome to my channel. Before we start the video, we will discuss about previous question. So question was, the nurse is conducting an intake assessment on the pregnant adolescent who reports consuming small amounts of alcohol daily. Based on the information provided, what should the nurse do? So answer is, adolescent pregnancies are considered high risk due to the immaturity of the reproductive system. The nurse should provide information to the adolescent regarding the risks associated with the drug and alcohol consuming during pregnancy. The nurse should explain to the adolescent that nutrients, medication, alcohol, antibodies and viruses can pass through the placenta. Therefore, measures should be taken to minimize exposure to the substances that can cross the placenta barrier and affect the health of the fetus. So now we will discuss about important questions related to prenatal period. So first question is, the nurse is providing instructions to a pregnant client who is scheduled for an amniocentesis. What instructions should the nurse provide? Options are, strict bed rest is required after the procedure. Hospitalization is necessary for 24 hours after the procedure. Informed consent needs to be signed before the procedure. A fever is expected after the procedure because of the trauma to the abdomen. So answer is C. Informed consent needs to be signed before the procedure. Because amniocentesis is an invasive procedure, informed consent needs to be obtained before the procedure. After the procedure, the client is instructed to rest but may resume light activity after the cramping subsides. The client is instructed to keep the puncture site clean and to report any complications such as chills, fever, bleeding, leakage of fluid at the needle insertion site, decreased fetal movement, uterine contractions and cramping. Question number 2. A pregnant client in the first trimester calls the nurse at a healthcare clinic and reports that she has noticed a thin colorless vaginal discharge. The nurse should make which statement to the client? Options are, come to the clinic immediately. The vaginal discharge may be bothersome but is a normal occurrence. Report to the emergency department. Use tampons if the discharge is bothersome. So answer is B. The vaginal discharge may be bothersome but is a normal occurrence. Leukorrhea begins during the first trimester. Many clients notice a thin, colorless or yellow vaginal discharge throughout pregnancy. Some clients become distressed about this condition, but it does not require that the client report to the clinic or emergency department. Because it is normal, the client may use panty liners. If the client uses panty liners, she should change them frequently. The client should not wear tampons because of the risk of infection. Question number 3. The nurse is instructing a pregnant client how to perform kick counts. Which statement by the client indicates a need for further instruction? Options are, I will record the number of movements or kicks. I need to lie flat on my back to perform the procedure. If I count fewer than 10 kicks in 2 hours, I should count the kicks again over the next 2 hours. I should place my hands on the largest part of my abdomen and concentrate on the fetal movements to count the kicks. So answer is B. I need to lie flat on my back to perform the procedure. Lying flat on the back is not necessary to perform this procedure. The client is instructed to place her hands on the largest part of the abdomen and concentrate on the fetal movements. The client records the number of movements felt during a specified period time. The client needs to notify the doctor if she feels fewer than 10 kicks over 2 consecutive 2-hour intervals. Question number 4. The nurse is assessing a pregnant client who is at 28 weeks of gestation. The nurse measures the fundal height in centimeters and notes that the fundal height is 30 centimeters. How should the nurse interpret this finding? Options are, the client is measuring large for gestational age. The client is measuring small for gestational age. The client is measuring normal for gestational age. More evidence is needed to determine the size for gestational age. So answer is C. The client is measuring normal for gestational age. During the second and third trimesters, fundal height in centimeters approximately equal the fetus's age in weeks. Therefore, if the client is at 28 weeks gestation, a fundal height of 30 cm would indicate that the client is measuring normal for gestational age. Question number 5. A pregnant client is seen for a regular prenatal visit and tells the nurse that she is experiencing regular contractions. The nurse determines that she is experiencing Braxton Hicks contractions. Based on this finding, which nursing action is appropriate? Options are: inform to the doctor, instruct the client to maintain bed rest for the remainder of pregnancy, inform the client that these contractions are common and may occur throughout the pregnancy, call the maternity unit and inform them that the client will be admitted in preterm labor. So answer is C. Inform the client that these contractions are common and may occur throughout the pregnancy. Braxton Hicks contractions are irregular painless contractions that may occur intermittently throughout a pregnancy. Because Braxton Hicks contractions may occur and are normal in some pregnant women during pregnancy, there is no reason to notify the doctor. The client is not in preterm labor and therefore does not need to be placed on the bed rest or be admitted to the hospital. So now we will discuss about important points regarding prenatal period. So first point is, when assessing fundal height, monitor the client closely for supine hypotension when placed in the supine position. Point number 2, it is important to assess cultural beliefs during care of maternity client. Point number 3, during pregnancy, a woman's pulse rate may increase about 10 to 15 beats per minute. Point number 4, during pregnancy, a woman's blood pressure slightly decreases in the second trimester, then increases in the third trimester, but not above the pre-pregnancy level, and the respiratory rate remains unchanged or slightly increases. Point number 5, during pregnancy, postural changes occurs as increased weight of the uterus causes a forward pull of the bony pelvis. The nurse needs to encourage the client to implement measures that maintain safety and correct posture to prevent backache. Point number 6, women of childbearing age should take folic acid supplements to prevent neural tube defects and orofacial cleft in the fetus. Point number 7, the usual schedule for antepartum healthcare visits is every 4 weeks for the first 28 to 32 weeks, every 2 weeks from 32 to 36 weeks, and every week from 36 to 40 weeks. Point number 8, the rubella vaccine is not given during pregnancy because the live attenuated viruses may cross the placenta and present a risk to the fetus. So now there is a question for you for critical thinking. So question is, the pregnant client at 8 weeks of gestation tells the nurse that she is experiencing morning sickness upon wakening. By lunchtime, she no longer has issues with the nausea and vomiting. What should the nurse instruct the client to do? Answer will be discussed in the next video.